All right, so John, this is your More Moments interview. Are you ready for your 10 questions?
I'm ready, Jeff. Thank you.
Sweet. Question number 1. If you had to choose between the two, which would you pick? Batman's utility belt or a fanny pack?
I would go with Batman's utility belt for sure. You know, it's one of those things, just the little hook that you can shoot up and push the button and you're connected. That's beautiful. And fanny packs, have their place. Typically in like an '80s throwback party where you're dressing up, that's where they have their place.
I thought The Rock was sporting a fanny
Is it?
pack recently, like
Well,
in
look,
2021.
he might be. Yeah, and if he is, he's a trendsetter. So who knows? Maybe a year from now you'll see me wearing a fanny pack.
Okay, you heard it here.
Yeah,
Those of you
yeah,
that watch me.
yeah.
All right, so what is your? I'm a big movie guy. I love movies. What is your favorite movie?
This is an easy one for me. I've had the same favorite movie since I was a young teenager, and that's Fletch, the Chevy Chase movie from the 1980s. Yeah, Irwin M. Fletcher, Fletch F. Fletch. If any Fletch fans out there,
Fletch Lives.
Fletch Lives for sure. And I love Fletch Lives. I have friends who, won't give it the time of day, but yeah, just his just smart aleckness throughout the whole movie and his wit and the different names he comes up with, just like that. Igor Stravinsky, and yeah, he's just, it's timeless. I've got a T-shirt that looks like a Lakers jersey.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, he's daydreaming and he's playing for the Lakers in the movie.
Right.
So he goes, here's Fletch. He's 6'5" with the afro 6'9". So it's a Lakers T-shirt jersey with Fletch on the back. Yeah.
I have to admit I've not seen that movie in decades, but yeah, it's hysterical.
It's worth a rewatch.
That's great.
I own it on DVD. Like I have like 4 copies, and on Blu-ray. Like anytime I'm in a Walgreens or some random store that has like a DVD section, it's there. Like I have to buy it. It doesn't make sense, but I do.
Even though you already own it?
Even though I own it, especially since I used to move a lot every couple of years, and somehow in moves you just lose stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought that I lost my copy, but then go back and find, oh no, yeah, I already have 2 other copies that were in different places. So
Okay.
that's Fletch. Yeah.
Well, speaking of favorites, what is your favorite quote?
Ooh, favorite quote. Well, I'll go with this because it applies to my business right now, and I think there's a lot of truth to it. If you don't tell your story effectively, you can't control the narrative. And that's a quote that's not attributed to anyone specifically. I certainly didn't come up with it. I've seen it out there. But it's just the idea that, all of us have, we come up with a story, whether we're hearing one or not. So whether it's, from your management of your company and they're not communicating with you, well, you're coming up with a story in your mind. Well, they're all about this, that, or the other. So you got to tell your story effectively. Otherwise, it's going to get told in ways that you can't control.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good advice. And speaking of advice, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I've ever received. The don't eat yellow snow comes right to mind, given my my grandpa's sense of humor, which helped mold my sense of humor. But no, let's think of a serious one.
No, don't eat yellow snow is wise, sage advice. Like, I think that is very serious.
yeah, don't do it. Don't try it. Best advice. My father would pull me aside as a young man, talking about a relationship with a woman, and he would just say, John, you got to understand, women think differently than we do, and you can't just apply your logic to what they're dealing with. It's just not going to work. And I remember him saying this to me, and I'm surely it came off of some frustrating situation or argument he and my mom had been in. And he pulled me aside to say this. But it is great advice because men, we just think very differently than women. And if we try to apply our logic, especially in a relationship, we're going to run into some frustrating situations for us and the other person. So that's some good advice.
Yeah, yeah.
I barely adhere to it, It's easy to say, hard to do.
So you're saying that this is advice that is so good, we put it in a glass case, and we never let it out.
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm trying
Yes.
to apply it.
Right.
Trying to let it out. Yeah.
We don't want to damage it, so we'll just set it there.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, between your grandfather and your dad, I'd like to ask this next question. Like going back to or staying in childhood, what was your favorite childhood toy?
Favorite childhood toy?
Yeah.
As a toy, probably Star Wars X-Wing. I was a big Star Wars fan early on, and I loved the X-Wing itself in the movies, and then the toy was just so cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I had that. I had the did you have the Ewok set?
I definitely had Ewoks. I don't know if I had the official set, but I had some of the characters for sure.
Yeah. That was cool. My friend, I think he had the walkers and stuff. Always wanted one of those. Never got one.
Yeah. The toy I wanted that I never got, I remember asking my mom for an aircraft carrier. Now, I was asking for the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. I'd seen a commercial. My mom was saying, we can't get an aircraft carrier. An aircraft carrier would be bigger than our entire street, our entire block. And I'm like, however old I was, 5 or 6, I'm like, what? Really? No, I saw kids playing with it on TV, But I wasn't able to communicate that to my mom, and it was a long, frustrating situation of me asking for aircraft carriers. I never did get one. But actually, funny enough, my wife, for Father's Day last year, got me, not the official G.I. Joe one, but a toy one, an aircraft carrier, because I've told the story to her many times. So
She did not. She did.
Yeah. I've got it. Our little boy, who's 3 years old, plays with it some, but the gift was really for me. So it was finally getting my aircraft carrier.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an amazing gift.
Yeah.
Bonus points to her. Holy cow.
Yeah, no doubt.
Nicely done. Well, when you were a kid, I'm sure you dreamed about being something when you grew up. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be, as a little kid, I wanted to be a professional baseball player, for sure. I wanted to play for the Cardinals. I remember, in first grade, whenever, you write it out and you take it home to your parents, and my parents kept it for a while, and it was, I wanted to be a baseball player and a stand-up comedian. This was as a first grader.
Yes.
Now, yeah, once I realized that I was never going to play professionally in baseball, it shifted to becoming a news broadcaster. I wanted to be on ESPN, really, but I also enjoyed the news and entertainment aspect of broadcasting. So it was to be a news anchor also.
Wow. We'll keep the baseball, we'll keep the sports, we'll take the comedy, we'll put them together. Sports news guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. That's awesome. Oh, man. Well, then I got to ask you this next question. What brings you joy today?
Well, what brings me joy, and I'll go deep on this because I've been diving deep personally. Previously it would have been something probably sports related. I just love the NCAA tournament, and it does bring me joy, don't get me wrong, but realizing what really brings me joy, and that's deep relationship and connection with people, getting past the surface area stuff, and really, hearing each other out and developing that relationship, and realizing, okay, this isn't just a, the basketball team, my team won a game, Baylor University. That's a fun exhilarating moment, but like the relationship aspect, the joy that can bring is more fulfilling and more lasting. So I've been trying to press into that more and comparing it. Okay, like recognizing the joy that I get out of deep connection and relationship,
Right.
and then comparing that to the other things I used to seek for joy. And it's like, okay, one has a lot more depth to it and lasting impact than the other.
Oh, I was going to ask you what differences are you seeing, and it sounds like the difference is the one is sustainable, longer lasting than the other one, and not only that, but there's more to it. That there's like a deeper richness.
Yeah, deeper richness is a good way to put it. Yeah, just more substance to it. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, the NCAA tournament, as we record this, is right around the corner. And my school, Baylor University, we're having one of our best years ever. Like, I'm going to be going nuts during the tournament, and I'm going to get a lot of joy out of it. Hopefully, if my team wins. But yeah, just recognizing, okay, what is the difference? And it is the lasting impact and fulfillment of joy that I feel.
Nice. Well, let's flip it for a second. What brings you dread?
Brings me dread. You know, I am not a handy person. Like I don't enjoy big projects where it's going to require assembly. So like an IKEA furniture assembly, that brings me dread. Like going to IKEA, I hate shopping. I don't have a decorative eye. Like I could see something all put together and say, yeah, that looks nice, but I can't just go to a store and piece it together. So if I'm somehow tasked with that, or I'm part of that process, and then assembling those furniture pieces or whatever, I'm not good at it, and it just brings me dread. IKEA.
But they give you free coffee when you walk in. At least I thought it was a free cup of coffee. So
they might. I've only been there twice.
So I'm guessing you were not a fan of Legos as a kid then, or Constructs, or those other.
No.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't a fan, and it's funny because our 3-year-old son is, and he's pretty talented with it. And so he's gotten Legos recently, and they make the big Legos for little kids. They're called Duplos, and he can play with those already pretty well. But somehow one of the aunts and uncles bought him an actual Lego set, police car and such, and he loves it. He gets frustrated because he's still pretty young to be using those, but he wants to put them together, and I can't help him. That is stressful for me. Now his mom, my wife, she loves that stuff and is really good at it. So like the two of them can sit there and build stuff, and I don't like it, don't enjoy it, I'm not good at it, and it brings a little dread.
Delegation.
Yeah,
honey,
right.
You're on deck.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome. Ah, man. Well, okay, how about this? Question number 9. What is one thing that you would like to accomplish but cannot do on your own?
Like to accomplish but cannot do on my own. That's a good question.
Thank you.
That was a stall tactic, actually, more than anything. But it is a good question.
I wasn't going to call it out, but I recognize and appreciate it.
Right. I would love to play in a band setting in front of a live audience. I love to sing. I love to do karaoke. And I can play guitar, and I've had a couple times where I played guitar personally in front of an audience. But to actually have like a full band situation, that's something I'd love to do that I can't do alone.
All right, here we go. Last question. We're rounding out. Number 10. Here it is. What do you want people to say about you, or hope they say about you, after you are gone?
I would want people to say that I was authentic, that I was genuine, and that I loved people and loved to connect with them on a beyond surface level. actually invest in people's lives.
Yeah. That sounds fantastic. I get behind
Well,
that.
I would like to, yeah, I can look at, both of my grandfathers who passed away, and they were both that way, for sure. They were humble and loved people, and, faith-wise, they loved Jesus, but they lived it. They didn't go around with a Bible and hit people over the head with it. It's like they just loved people, and that was a great testimony of theirs.
Are you saying they walked it out, so it wasn't just 1 hour a week?
Right. Yeah. It wasn't just 1 hour a week, and it wasn't just words. It wasn't a bumper sticker. It wasn't, just the fish on the back of a car. It was, yeah, I've seen them too. The Darwin ones always crack me up, right? The fish with the little legs on it. Yeah.
Right. And then the other. That's great. Well, John, man, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.